Okay, changing out the front brakes. Things you're going to pretty much need starting off: a hammer, a ratchet, open end wrench, and an impact driver. The open end, that's a 3/4 inch. I'll show you where that goes here in a second. I've got a 14 and then a 17 sockets. The impact is a Phillips screwdriver. Now for the impact, that's going to go on these right here. These are just little screws that hold the rotor in place, and what I've done is just kind of marked them with a little Sharpie when I actually start hammering on that. And as soon as I see that mark move, then I know that I've loosened those up a little bit. Now on this back end here, that's a little better. Okay, this right here will hold a 3/4 inch, and you've got to hold that still like that. It's right in front of the rubber boot. But on the back end, that's your 14 right there. So it's actually going to be like a 14 on the back end. And then you hold it still with your 3/4. And you'll be able to loosen that back bolt. And then once your caliper and your bracket for the caliper is next to come off. But once the caliper's out of the way, what holds that on is 2 17s. Let me see if I can get this back here and see it also. So basically, yeah, there we go. Yeah, where I got my finger, that right there is a 17 for that back bracket. You got one more right below it, right there. Loosened up. This one I already loosened up. Come right out now, but I'll go ahead and leave them for the moment. Let's see if they're loose. Okay. Now, there we go. Here in a little bit, we're going to take this piston and just gently push it on back in there using a C-clamp. But for now, we're just going to hang this up out of the way. pads in there. Still plenty of life on them, but this has got a shape, pretty good shape to it as you're coming to a stop. So I'm going to go ahead and replace all the rotors, new pads. See if that fixes it. These aren't held on by anything, they just slide right out. We're going to clean up these points here that those pads slide on. Just give them a tiny little bit of grease also. Just clean them up a little bit of grease. These with the rubber, make sure the rubber's still good. And it should move kind of back and forth freely. Check them out. That one's alright. This one moves back and forth. I think they make kits for these. If rubber goes bad, I think you can go ahead and buy yourself some new rubber ends for it. Okay. That's on there pretty good, so we're going to have to hammer that off here in a second. New pads should come with some new backings. If not, reuse your old ones. If you're going to reuse your rotors, if they're in good shape and reuse them, I wouldn't recommend doing this. There's got to be a better way to take them off. But I've already bought new ones replacing these, so I'm just going to go ahead and hammer them right off. It's just held on by, seized up by rust. It'll knock loose here in a minute. That's all it took. See, I put two little dents in it. So if you were to reuse it, this would be one I'd say you probably don't want to use, or at least go have it turned so you can get those nicks out. Or use something better than a stupid nail hammer. Okay.